Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. My name is Scott Reisch, and this is Crime Talk, the most fact-driven, unbiased true crime channel on the entire internet. First on the docket today, the prosecutor responds to allegations made by Daybell-Vallow's attorney. Let the circus begin. Second, more FOJs being arrested. Third, more body cam videos in the Ahmed Arbery case are released. Teenagers getting a little creative to fund their business model, and our dumb criminal contestant of the day. Let's talk about it. Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. This is Crime Talk. My name is Scott Reisch. Thanks for watching. If you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button and also hit that little bell so that you receive notifications of when we go live or put up new content. And as always, leave us a comment below. And I think you may have a few things to comment on today. As you recall, yesterday we talked about the allegations made by Daybell-Vallow's attorney, Mark Means. He made a motion to disqualify the prosecuting attorney, and he also wanted additional time to extend the deadline, so that he could file a motion to dismiss. Now, these are some pretty bold allegations that Mr. Means made, and then Mr. Pryor, the attorney for Chad Daybell, filed basically a motion to join, which pretty much mirrored the motion filed by Mark Means. Now, as I stated yesterday, if you are going to go after the prosecutor, you better have a silver bullet. And the motion, I think, leaves a little to be desired, frankly, because there's no specificity. Some very bold, broad-sweeping allegations are made regarding violating the rules of professional conduct. The prosecutor has made threats and intimidated and basically retaliating against witnesses, and that's violating everybody's due process rights for a fair trial. Now, you don't go accusing people of unethical conduct, particularly a district attorney of unethical conduct, unless you better have a smoking gun. And I'm telling you, you better have a smoking gun. Otherwise, the judge is going to crush somebody like you've never seen before. Well, the prosecutor in this particular case, Mr. Wood, has filed a response. He actually filed an affidavit in conjunction with the objection that was filed, not signed by Mr. Woods, but Troy Evans, who's a deputy special prosecutor for the Fremont County District Attorney's Office. And as you may recall, and I think I may have misstated. I woke up in the middle of the night thinking, did I misstate that? Because the defense stated they had just received these audio recordings of these material witnesses that were made in Arizona. Frankly, Mr. Means' motion is somewhat inarticulate in spots, and I thought it came through discovery. Well, it turns out these recordings were made by the attorney for these material witnesses, and they were turned over to the defense. In no way did the prosecutor have these tapes. It appears as though he also didn't know the tapes were made, and so how could he go and get them and turn them over to the defense? Simply not going to happen. So the prosecutor responds in his affidavit, stating that he's obviously the elected DA and that he's always acted in accordance with the Idaho rules of professional conduct and has strived to seek justice in this case while acting in accordance with his duty to protect the rights that he has to protect those of the defendants, both Chad and Lori Daybell. Now, he adamantly denies, Rob Wood adamantly denies that he coerced, put any undue influence, coach, or intimidate any witness or instructed a witness how to respond to any questions regarding law enforcement. In fact, the district attorney goes on and says all of these recordings that the defense references in their motion with a Summer Shiflett and a Zumela Pastenatus were all while they were present with their attorney, an attorney by the name of Gary Smith. Mr. Wood says that he never met with the two witnesses outside the company of their attorney, and the meeting with Ms. Shiflett took place on October 1st, and the meeting with Ms. Pastanedas took place on October 2nd. Both meetings took place at the Chandler, Arizona Police Department, apparently at their request. And when I mean at their request, Ms. Smith, Ms. Shiflett, and Ms. Pastanedas came about as a result of Ms. Pastanedas reaching out to law enforcement and Mr. Wood's office through her attorney, Mr. Smith. The meeting among Mr. Wood, Mr. Smith, Mrs. Shiflett, and Ms. Pastanedas were introductory in nature and not investigative in any way. The meeting took place before the investigative meeting with law enforcement, and Mr. Wood did not sit in on the meeting with law enforcement. And he states that at no time did Mr. Smith, the attorney, make any objections to statements or questions by Mr. Wood. And after the introductory meeting, Mr. Smith accompanied his clients to interviews with law enforcement in which they actively participated of their own free will. At no time did Mr. Smith raise an objection or concern that Mr. Wood had coerced, unduly influenced, coached, intimidated, or instructed a witness how to respond to any questions. And then nearly 2.5 months have passed from this October meeting until now, wherein no objection was ever raised. And Mr. Smith, the attorney for the key witnesses, has never raised any concerns or objections about what occurred that day. Now, not only did Mr. Smith not object during the initial meeting with his clients, they met with law enforcement a second time a few weeks later. Now, Mr. Wood did not record the meeting. I think that is key. All right. Prosecutors have a duty to turn over information that's in their possession, or if they know about it and it could be exculpatory, they should go get it. But if you didn't know it was being recorded, how could you know that you had to go get it from somebody? So the due process violation claim is frivolous in this criminal defense attorney's humble opinion. It also appears that Mr. Woods claims that the entire conversation was not recorded, and it may in fact be altered and certainly not complete. Now, where this gets a little tricky is that Arizona is a one-party consent state, which means that only one party has to consent to the recording, i.e., it could be the person doing the recording. You don't have to ask the other person. However, the Arizona Ethics Attorney Advisory Committee considers most non-consensual recorded conversations by attorneys to be unethical. All right? Attorneys can record conversations, but you have to get the other party's approval. I would not surreptitiously record a conversation in anything related to my law practice. That is an invitation for big trouble. So if it was in fact Mr. Smith, the attorney in Arizona, and his two clients did this, and he did this, he could have some ethical issues of his own. One of the other issues raised in the motion is that Mark Means wants additional time to file a motion to dismiss, basically to kind of join Chad Daybell's motion that there's not probable cause. That one's going to be heard in early January. Well, the significance of that is that Mark Means waived the preliminary hearing for his attorney, Daybell-Vallow. He's waived that, so he doesn't get to come back and say, ooh, now I think there's a motion that can be made to dismiss. If you want to challenge that, you have to do it in court. So the defense objects to any of those extensions whatsoever. Now, the affidavit filed by Mr. Woods kind of mirrors the response, basically saying, hey, I've never done anything inappropriate, and court, you be the judge of it. Let's have a hearing on this right away. Now, the prosecution also filed a motion for a protective order. A protective order is simply an order to the party saying you can't do something, all right? And in this particular case, the prosecution says do not let anyone involved in this case, including staff of the court or anybody, release any exhibits or recordings that may have been filed with the court. And this is a little interesting, a little nuanced to the case, because as you know, Daybell-Vallow and Chad Daybell, through their counsels, are asking for a change of venue. So you can't basically try and go create a change of venue by creating a circus on your own. You can't do what they call invite air. You can't run off and publish stuff on the internet and then say, Judge, I can't get a fair trial. But you're the one that brought it up. So there's talk that there's a transcript or the recordings are out there. I have been unable to find them as of the filming of this particular episode of Crime Talk. Somebody has a link, let me know. We'll certainly be able to comment. I personally, without having seen what is in a video or an audio recording, I guess I should say audio recording, but based upon what is in the motions filed by the defense and the response filed by the district attorney, I don't think that the defense has met their burden to have the special prosecutor kicked off this case. I just don't see it. And frankly, if there's something on those recordings, guess what? It's ripe for cross-examination if those witnesses are called by the prosecution. Or guess what? The defense, although they never have to present a case, can certainly call witnesses they want if they are in fact relevant. But color me a little suspicious about this motion simply because they didn't put any specifics as to what was allegedly said. Just this broad sweeping allegation of governmental misconduct. I'm telling you, you make that, you start raising the E word, that's right, the ethical word, I'm telling you, you got trouble. And you better be right, because if you're not, the person making those allegations is going to have some ethical conduct issues with their state bar. Let me know what you think. Do you think we should bring in all the clowns yet and the elephants? Because clearly I think we have the start of a 3-ring circus, and I think our ringmaster is going to be Mark Means. Next on the docket, more FOJs. That's right, Friends of Jeff. You know who I'm talking about. Jean-Luc Brunel, a French modeling agent and close ally of that guy named Jeff, was arrested as he was attempting to board a flight to Dakar. Prosecutors in Paris say that he was taken into custody for allegations of sexual assaults against minor, sexual harassment, criminal conspiracy, and trafficking in human beings. Now, seems to be a lot of people going down on this lately, and it also seems to be a lot of FOJs going down. Almost kind of makes you wonder if maybe somebody in custody could be talking. We'll just have to wait and see. Next on the docket, more body cam videos have been released in the Ahmaud Arbery case. The newly released police videos show Travis McMichael covered in blood as he talks to the cops moments after he shot Ahmaud Arbery. He claimed he had no choice but to do so. And you also notice in the videos, both Travis McMichael and Gregory McMichael go to great lengths to let everybody know that Gregory Michael used to be the chief investigator for the DA's office, and Travis McMichael lets everybody know that his dad is the former chief investigator for the DA's office. One of the police officers in the Travis McMichael video actually comments, yeah, I think he looks familiar. Oh, he only left 6 months ago? I thought so. Clearly trying to use his position as law enforcement to let everybody know there's nothing to see here. We're just doing what we had to do. And I think it's interesting, as they stated specifically in the video with Gregory McMichael, that he said he went and got his son because he knew this was the guy that was breaking into houses. He said, we got him. And then they chased him around the neighborhood. They blocked him and they killed him. And I think Gregory McMichael and Travis McMichael, I think they're going to go to prison. You know, family that does time together stays together. Now, next on the docket, a quick recess. Please go to crimetalksearch.com, sign up for a background subscription service. You'll be happy you did. If there's anyone out there you were ever curious about what was in their background, now is the time to do it. If you're going to get involved with somebody, now is the time to do it. When you go to CrimeTalkSearch.com, you put in the name, literally millions of public records are searched, and a report is generated. And it's going to give you a report that's going to give you this person's social media information. If they have multiple social media accounts, you're going to find it. If they have multiple phone numbers, multiple email addresses, it's going to be found. And more importantly, you're going to get information regarding criminal history. Hopefully the person you're searching has none whatsoever. But if it's there, it's going to be found. You're going to get everything you'd want to know, whether you're going into business or whether you're going into a personal relationship. You're going to be able to find out the information you want to know. So go to CrimeTalkSearch.com, sign up today. You'll be happy you did. Now, you always got to love teenagers when they get creative to fund their business ventures. Well, 2 teenagers are being accused of changing direct deposit information so that paychecks that were meant for their fellow Lowe's employees were instead deposited into accounts that they controlled. And the teenagers, 19-year-old Solomon Smith and 18-year-old Garrett Sivley, both of whom were employees at Lowe's until they were obviously recently fired, accessed payroll accounts and changed the direct deposit information so that the funds would be transferred to accounts that they had control of. Now, it's probably one of the dumbest crimes you could possibly do, because guess what? All that's going through a computer and is completely traceable, going to accounts that you had to show your identification for to open the accounts. Well, apparently $11,795 from the payroll accounts were taken and seized. And why were these young lads trying to get so creative and needing venture capital money for what they intended to do? That's right. They intended to use the money to buy phones and then resell them on eBay. Now, I appreciate the initiative, but very poor judgment. Maybe go get another job, maybe get a side hustle, but don't steal people's money. As we've said this before, don't take things that don't belong to you. It's a crime. Next on the docket, our dumb criminal contestant of the day. Our dumb criminal contestant of the day comes from somewhere other than Florida. He comes from Portland, Maine. And this gentleman's name is Alice Sweet. Mr. Sweet apparently went into a McDonald's yesterday afternoon and revved a weapon. That's right, revved it up. That's because it was a chainsaw. And once he confronted the McDonald's staff with the chainsaw, he was able to steal some food and a drink before fleeing the restaurant. The manager at the McDonald's confronted Mr. Sweet, but then Mr. Sweet began chasing the manager with the chainsaw. Fortunately, the manager got away. The police also allege that the 26-year-old Mr. Sweet of Portland, Maine, also damaged 2 cars that were parked at the fast food joint. Officers at the scene apparently ran after Sweet and they tracked him down, and he was arrested for robbery, criminal mischief. Officers who responded to the scene ran after Mr. Sweet, tracked him down, and arrested him. He is being held on charges of robbery, criminal mischief, and refusing to submit to arrest, and violations of conditions of release on a previous case. Now, a chainsaw is clearly something you don't usually take to a robbery, and Mr. Sweet makes it a little more difficult to get away when you're doing that. So, for your actions of choosing a chainsaw for a weapon in a robbery, Mr. Sweet, you are a dumb criminal contestant of the day. Now, as we have stated before, if you would like to have the same prize that the dumb criminal contestant of the week is going to win without having to become a dumb criminal contestant, you can do so. That's right. It's a Crime Talk mug. We'll send one to the winner every week like we've done for many, many months now. But if you'd like to have one without becoming a dumb criminal, hit the link below. You should be able to have it just in time for Christmas. What a great stocking stuffer. Who doesn't want Crime Talk merchandise? Now, please remember to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and please go become a Patreon member so that you can participate in our Patreon live member show every Tuesday night which takes place right after our Tuesday night live edition of Crime Talk. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you next time on Crime Talk.